How's it going, everybody? My name is LuckyBunz. In today's video, I'm going to be going over the best tips and tricks to get you guys ready for the Steel and Scales event in Pokemon GO. With that being said, we got a lot to get through, so let's go ahead and jump straight into it. Okay, so first of all, this event is going to be taking place from July 22nd at 10 AM to July 27th at 8 PM local time. We're going to have the following bonuses, and this is also known as the Ultra Unlock Part 2, so we're going to be getting back the 4x Catch Experience and the 4x Catch Stardust. Super awesome bonuses. We're also going to get a boosted shiny rate on the following Pokemon: a Bagon, Beldum, and Shiny Unknown U. For the wild encounters, the shiny rate is going to be 1 out of 128, and then for the raid encounter, that's going to be 1 out of 64. Now, I will actually say that, during the past events where we've actually had the boosted shiny rate on very specific Pokemon, I don't entirely believe these are accurate rates. I clicked on a lot of Staryu during the Water Festival event, and even though that had a boosted shiny rate of 1 out of 128, it definitely felt like it was more like 1 out of 256. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong here, please chime in how many shinies you guys actually got during these events. I try to do these community posts, every now and then to get some people's feedback, but that doesn't always get a whole lot of traction. So anyways, in this video, just let me know how the recent events have been for you, if you actually felt like these shiny rates were boosted at these rates that I'm talking about, or if it felt like it was a bit rarer to actually get them. Next up, let's go over the debut Pokemon for this event, a very anticipated Pokemon that's going to be Honedge, which evolves all the way up into Aegislash. Now, it's going to cost you 25 candy to evolve Honedge into Doublade, and then 100 candy to evolve it all the way up into Aegislash, so 125 candy in total. Aegislash is also going to take on the dual typing of Ghost and Steel. But how do you actually get Honedge? So you can encounter Honedge from raids and also the GBL encounter pool during this event if you've made it past rank 6. When it comes down to the GBL encounters, this is going to be specifically for the Win 3 reward on the free track or the Win 1 reward on the premium track. The chance to encounter Honedge is also going to be boosted for the premium track, but I don't really think that's necessary to actually get these. Looking back at Morpeko when that Pokemon got released, it's pretty similar, and when I was just doing the free ones, I got them pretty frequently, so I don't think it's going to be that rare, and not to mention you can't even get this Pokemon shiny currently, so using your premium passes for the premium track, I mean, you can do it if you want to, I just don't think you really need to. Now, after this event ends, you can still encounter Honedge through Go Battle League, but you're going to have to be rank 16 or higher instead of rank 6 during this event. By the way, for anybody who doesn't do Go Battle League, getting to rank 6 is extremely easy, so don't even think twice about it. Now, going back to Aegislash, this Pokemon is going to have two forms, a Blade form and a Shield form. When its form changes, its attack and defense stats are going to flip, which gives it a very interesting battle mechanic in PvP, pretty similar to Morpeko. Now, from what I researched, it seems that when you throw a charged attack, it's going to switch to its attack form, and then when you use a shield, it's going to switch to its defense form. Now, also because this Pokemon is so new and the battle mechanics are most likely going to be bugged or broken on release, you can't use this Pokemon competitively in the regional or championship tournaments currently, and even though it's not going to be banned in GBL on launch, there is a good possibility that they might temporarily remove it once players figure out some OP strategies. This actually happened with Morpeko after launch, so it's just a theory, but I thought it was worth mentioning. Next up, let's talk about how good Aegislash is going to be. So obviously, because of its unique battle mechanic, this Pokemon should be amazing for PvP, but because you can only get it from raids or GBL, this also means that the IV floor is going to be 10-10-10. So you do want to ideally mirror trade this with somebody else to get a better IV spread for PvP, something with like low attack IVs and then high defense and high stamina. I do also want to mention when it comes down to raids for Aegislash, it's not going to get access to a Ghost type fast move, so it really isn't going to be good to use in that meta, but even if it does get access to Shadow Claw in the future, it's pretty much going to be a Glass Cannon in its Blade form, which is going to be what you ideally want to run it as. So I think as most players probably expected, Aegislash is going to have its main relevance in PvP. Now finally, I do also want to mention that the Kalos Tour is going to be taking place next year around February in 2026, which means that there is also a strong chance that we're going to see the shiny debut for this Pokemon during that event, and it might also be available in the wild to catch as Honedge. So I wouldn't really worry about using your raid passes on this Pokemon during this event, and just focus on the GBL free track during this event if you actually want to get some encounters. So overall, that pretty much covers Aegislash. It looks like a great Pokemon for PvP, but I'm definitely cautious about it just getting released into Pokemon GO because when Morpeko came out, man, I mean, there was a lot of things wrong with that. In a good way, but also because of that, it kind of got banned from GBL, so I don't know, we'll have to wait and see what happens here. And I guess if anybody is, willing to get as much candy as possible on this Pokemon early, let us know in the comment section how it actually is running, because obviously I don't think a lot of us out there are going to be grinding really hard for this. Now with that being said, there is actually going to be one more debut Pokemon during this event, and that's going to be Shiny Rookidee. So this is going to be debuting, but we're also going to get a comm day for this Pokemon at the end of August. So when it comes down to it, I wouldn't really get FOMO over this Pokemon during this event, because when that comm day does come around, we're going to have the shiny rate of 1 out of 25, and then you can farm tons of these. That pretty much covers our debut baby Pokemon though, but we still have a lot of other encounters that we're going to have featured during this event, and some really, really good ones are in there. So let's take a look at the featured Pokemon right now, starting off with the wild encounters. So from the wild encounters, you guys can expect to see Magnemite, Dratini, Aeron, Bagon, Beldum, Ferroseed, Noibat, Rookidee, and then for the rare spawns, we're going to get access to Axew and Goomy. We're also going to get more encounters with event-themed Pokemon through field research, and there is going to be collection challenges during this event. Moving on though, let's take a look at the raid Pokemon featured during this event, specifically focusing on the lower tier raids first. So in 1-star raids, we're going to get access to Gible, Unknown U, Clink, Dino, and Honedge. And then when it comes down to 3-star raids, we're going to get access to Dragalge, Bisharp, Skarmory, and then Turtonator. Next up, taking a look at 5-star raids, we're going to get Lunala featured in raid battles for the first time ever, which is super exciting. Unfortunately, the shiny is not going to be available, so that might deter some people from doing them, but I do think it is actually worth using your free passes on Lunala during this event, and we'll talk more about that later. Additionally, there's also going to be a raid hour for Lunala on the 23rd of July from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. In the Mega Raid pool, we're going to get access to Mega Venusaur until the 28th as well, just like Lunala. And then finally, in Max Battles, we're going to get access to Dynamax Darumaka. Keep in mind, guys, not everything I just mentioned is going to be worth paying attention to, but we'll cover the best Pokemon you actually want to hunt later on in the video. Before we talk about the best Pokemon you actually want to hunt, though, let's go over the overlapping events taking place during this one. And there's some pretty important things I have to talk about, so make sure you're paying attention. So first of all, on the 22nd, we're going to have Jigglypuff Spotlight Hour taking place from 6 to 7 p.m. local time. We're going to have the special bonus of 2x transfer candy as well. Now to start things off, when evolved to Wigglytuff, this is going to rank in the top 100 for the Open Great League, but outside of that, the main reason to actually play this Spotlight Hour is going to be for the boosted spawns with 4x catch experience and 4x catch Stardust. Keep in mind that Jigglypuff is actually a pretty good Pokemon to hit excellent throws on. I don't particularly find it difficult, especially if you do combine that together with Freeze Shock, which is basically just like a permanent Nana Berry, so it's not going to like fly up and mess up your throws. You can really take advantage and get a ton of experience. You can also go ahead and use Spatial Rent as well if you just want to increase the spawn radius for even more spawns, but I guess it really depends on what you're going to be going for. If you want to focus on Stardust, I feel like Spatial Rent is more effective, but if you want to focus on excellent throws, then definitely go with Black Kyurem's Freeze Shock. Now keep in mind, the 2x transfer candy bonus is really good, so if you want to really maximize that candy gain, and then also focus on the event spawns, I would group together all of your rare Pokemon that you've either traded or just kind of stockpiled up, and then same thing with extra legendary Pokemon as well, and then just transfer them all in one go once the event starts. Like, if you literally just put them all in a search tag, it's extremely fast, but if you're having to go through and, you know, pick out which ones you actually want to transfer, it can be really time consuming, and you definitely don't want to miss out on Jigglypuff Spotlight Hour with those increased spawns. This will also be the last day of the summer concert event, and these bonuses are going to be running from 5 to 8 p.m. local time. So in terms of the bonuses, we're going to have lure modules extended from 30 minutes to 1 hour, and they're also going to spawn Pokemon a lot more frequently. I went out for the first 2 days of this event, and instead of like 3 minutes every lure module spawn, it's actually more like 45 seconds, so it's crazy good. Now additionally, on top of that, you're also going to get field research encounters with Spinda. But unfortunately, you know, even though you can encounter like all the Spinda except for the heart form, which I think is really awesome, the research quests are not going to reset every single hour, and if you already spun that Pokestop and you completed that quest before the event starts at 5 p.m, you won't be able to actually get that one during the event, or at least it can't actually be anything, which is a poor design if you ask me, and I don't really know why they did this, but they did. So if you actually want to take advantage of these Spinda tasks, don't spin any Pokestops before the event starts. But I will say there is a much more important thing I would focus on during this last day of this event, and that's going to be the Audino that are going to be spawning from lure modules. Keep in mind, the final day of the summer concert is going to overlap with the Steel and Scales event, which means you're going to get 4x catch Stardust for all of the Audino spawning off the lure modules. So I strongly recommend making some time for this event. I mean, if you haven't played the summer event so far, that's okay, but you definitely have to play on the 22nd. It's arguably going to be one of the best times to play in Pokemon Go, period, if you want to farm Stardust. Especially because Audino doesn't even nest anymore, this is literally the next best thing. But next up, let's talk about the Dynamax Latios and Dynamax Latias Max Battle Weekend, which is going to be taking place on the 26th and the 27th of July. So basically during this event, most power spots are going to be Dynamax Latios or Dynamax Latias, which are going to cost 800 MP to do. Power spots are also going to refresh every 30 minutes, but I did mention that most power spots are going to be these Pokemon. It doesn't mean that it's going to be guaranteed, unlike Gmax raid days, for example, so keep in mind that, you know, not everything will be Dynamax Latios or Latias, but they're going to refresh pretty frequently, so it shouldn't be an issue. We're going to get the MP collection limit raised from 800 to 1600. We're going to have 1/4 adventure distance for MP going from 2 kilometers to 0.5 kilometers. Keep in mind that you have to actually do this during the event, so the first time you actually, you know, try to do it is going to be 2 kilometers, but then after that, Once you do it during the event, it's going to be 0.5. People always get confused about this, and to be honest, I don't know why they just can't change this retroactively, but for whatever reason they can't. We're also going to get 8 times MP from power spots, going from 120 to 820. And there's actually going to be 2 bonuses leading up to this event, which are really awesome. One of them is going to be every Pokemon that you decide to power up the max moves or even unlock the max moves, it's going to be 3/4 the cost. I have been waiting to actually do this on certain Pokemon that I have been saving up, like my Gmax Lapras for example, so it's the perfect time if you guys have actually been holding off as well to really take advantage of that discount. There's also going to be a timed research lead up like we normally get, which is going to be available actually right now as you're watching this. And this is going to get you, the standard 300 MP if you catch 5 max Pokemon, 300 MP if you level up max moves 3 times, and then 300 MP if you unlock a max move, and then 500 MP if you actually complete the entire research. If you guys have Pokemon you are already going to invest into anyways, I feel like it's going to be a great time to get some extra MP before the event starts, but I wouldn't necessarily go out of your way if you don't have that much candy to just do this on like random Pokemon. If you have the excess candy, more power to you, but to be honest, I feel like this is definitely a noob trap for some players, so don't let it get to you. Some people in my last video for some reason told me that Zacian and Zamazenta just don't cost MP to upgrade their max moves like it was some sort of advantage, but I mean it's still like 50,000 Stardust to upgrade those max moves, and you have to use the energy to get them. So, I mean, if you haven't done it already, sure, it could work out, but if you're just going to do it for the sake of this research, I really don't see that as beneficial. Maybe I missed something about that, but really it just comes down to what I said previously. If you're going to upgrade a max move or even unlock a max move, I think that's perfectly fine. Like, if it's going to be on a Pokemon that you're already going to build anyways, then it works out in your favor. But if you're going out of your way to just do it on like random Pokemon, it is a lot of resources, and it can definitely set you back in certain aspects of the game. So if you have the resources, by all means, more power to you, but if you don't worry about this one too much. Now overall, when it comes down to Dynamax Latios or Dynamax Latias in terms of meta relevance, they're not really going to be that good to have. I mean, like, I guess you could hold on to one, try and get a good IV spread if you want to, use it for a Mega Evolution, but I would say that the main use of getting these Pokemon during this event is going to be so that you can drop them in power spots to farm candy. So I feel like getting at least 2 of each is probably good enough. Any more, I mean, you can definitely go for if you'd like to, but I don't think it's anything you guys should really stress over. That pretty much covers the overlapping events. Now let's talk about the best Pokemon you actually want to focus on. So first up, we're going to have Magnemite, which evolves all the way up into Magnezone. This Pokemon is going to be relevant in the Ultra League in the top 150, and it's also going to be a decent option to use as an electric type in the Raid/Gym meta. Next up, we're going to have Dratini, which evolves all the way up into Dragonite. This is going to be really good to use in the Open Master League right now, currently ranking in the top 30. It's going to be a great Dragon type attacker to use, not like the best of the best, but honestly, it's still pretty solid. And then you could also farm candy for the Shadow form, which is going to be one of the best Dragon types in the game right now. Next up, we're going to have Bagon, which is going to be shiny boosted during this event once again at 1 out of 128. We're also going to have Bagon evolving all the way up into Salamence, which makes it a really good Pokemon to use, especially with the Mega Evolution. And then also the Shadow Salamence is an extremely good Pokemon. I personally do have a Shadow Salamence built to level 50, and I use it all the time in raid battles as well as rocket battles. Next up, we're going to have Beldum, which is also going to be shiny boosted at 1 out of 128, another really good Pokemon to pay attention to. Beldum evolves all the way up into Metagross, and you do want to ideally have Meteor Mash, and if you end up getting like a really good IV spread, it could be worth giving it to it, especially if that ends up being the hundo. In terms of meta relevance, Metagross is going to be in the top 20 for the Open Master League. It's going to be one of the best Steel-type attackers in the game, especially as the Shadow. So if you already have a bunch of Zacian and Zamazenta, and even Duskmane Necrozma, you probably don't have to focus on Shadow Metagross anymore because it has been outclassed. That being said, it's still a great Steel-type attacker to build, and Metagross is going to get a future Mega Evolution, which is probably going to be coming to Pokemon GO sooner rather than later. The next Pokemon to pay attention to is going to be Ferroseed, which is going to evolve into Ferrothorn. This is relevant in the Open Ultra League in the top 150, and Ferrothorn is going to be a Pokemon you actually need a lot of extra large candy for, so make sure to farm this one during this event if you are kind of lacking on it. After that, we're going to have Rookidee, which evolves all the way up into Corviknight. Like I mentioned earlier though, the Calm Day is going to be at the end of August, so really you don't have to pay attention to this Pokemon. That being said though, I would still be catching every single one of these, not only for the candy for the future Gmax form, but also because it is super meta relevant right now in PvP. It's in the top 20 for the Open Great League, and it's in the top 5 for the Open Ultra League. You will have to use an Elite Charge TM though to get Iron Head, and this moveset isn't going to be available during the Calm Day, so it really doesn't make that much of a difference, but if you guys can't get a good IV spread during this event specifically, you'll definitely have a good opportunity during the Calm Day at the end of August. Next up, we're going to have Axew, which evolves into Haxorus. This Pokemon is going to be relevant in the Master League Premier Cup, and it's also going to be a decent Dragon-type attacker to use in the Raid/Gym meta, but compared to the other Dragon types that we have featured during this event, it is for sure on the weaker side, so maybe not something you want to pay attention to a bunch. unless you're going for that shiny. Next up, we're going to have Goomy, which evolves into Goodra. This Pokemon is going to be relevant in the Great League, the Ultra League, and the Open Master League. Also the Master League Premier Cup, and I did happen to build this, so that's why I'm saying that right now. It's pretty good there. Now, it does need to have a Legacy Charge move, Thunder Punch, in certain metas, but not all of them, so I wouldn't actually worry about it too much. And on top of that, there is an unreleased Hisuian version, so you might want to grab an IV spread for that variant as well, in case it ends up becoming good once it is released. Considering that version of Goodra is also going to be a Steel type, it kind of felt like it would have been fitting to release it during this event, but I feel like I've literally said that so many times about Hisuian Goodra, and it just never gets released, so I don't know what they have planned for that Pokemon, but clearly it has to be something good. In 1-star and 3-star raids, we are going to have 2 Pokemon that are going to be shiny boosted. The first one is going to be Unknown You, which isn't exactly something I would probably raid for. I mean, even if I was like a pay-to-play player, I would feel like weird raiding for Unknown You, but I guess some people out there probably are doing this. I just don't think it's worth it. Now, following that, we are going to have Turtonator in 3-star raid battles, which is going to be a perma-boosted shiny at 1 out of 64, so you guys might want to pay attention to that one. I'm probably not going to do it, but I guess if you just really don't care for Lunala, then yeah, maybe you can do a few of those. And then we also talked about Honedge earlier, right, evolving into Aegislash. This Pokemon is most likely going to be relevant in the Great League and Ultra League metas. Now, I would personally avoid doing these in raid battles and focus on just getting them from GBL from the free track rewards. You don't really have to do the premium track. Like, you can do it if you want to. I just think it's better to save your raid passes for something like Lunala instead. And don't get me wrong, like, I know that Lunala doesn't have a shiny form during this event, but Lunala is a really, really good Pokemon. Not only is it in the top 10 for the Open Master League, it's a really good Ghost-type attacker, actually better than Giratina Origin Form, and if you end up getting bad IV spreads, you can just use them for your fusion forms for Dawnwing's Necrozma, which is like the best Ghost-type attacker in the game, even above Mega Gengar. So yeah, Lunala is like a top priority in my opinion, despite it not even having the shiny form, and that's pretty rare for me to say. Over the weekend, we're also going to get access to Shadow Registeel as well, which does have the chance to be Shadow Shiny. I know a lot of players are still going pretty hard for that one, so if you guys do want to get it, this is going to be the last weekend with it in rotation, most likely for a very, very long time. Unless we get some sort of raid day event, this isn't coming back after this rotation. And then finally, we're going to get Mega Venusaur as well in Mega Raids, which is going to be a great Grass-type attacker to use. Mega Sceptile is going to be better, but Mega Venusaur is still fantastic for just the candy farming aspect of it. So when you get it to Mega level 3, you can really take advantage of the dual typing being Grass and Poison. Otherwise, that pretty much covers every Pokemon I think is worth farming during this event. There were some other ones in raid battles, like in 1-star raids we had Gible and Dyna, which are technically good Pokemon, but I don't see the point in using raid passes on those. Like, we're going to get them as event-featured Pokemon at some point again. And we also have Shadow Gible featured from Rocket Leaders right now, specifically from Cliffs, so if you want to focus on Gible, just do those. Next up, let's go over the best Mega Evolution you want to have active during this event for candy farming bonuses. We basically have 2 main typings, right? Dragon and Steel, the theme of this event. So if we do factor in Lunala as well being a Psychic and Ghost-type Pokemon, you would ideally want to go with either Mega Rayquaza, Mega Latios, or Mega Latias to cover all Dragon-type Pokemon as well as Lunala. But if you don't actually want to cover Lunala, you can also just go with any other Dragon-type Mega, being Mega Ampharos, Altaria, Salamence, Garchomp, Sceptile, or Charizard X. Charizard X was featured recently in Mega Raids, so hopefully some of you guys out there who just came back to the game did get access to that one. Now, if you would prefer to go with a Steel-type Mega instead, your options are going to be Mega Steelix, Scizor, Mawile, Aggron, and Lucario. But I do think a Dragon-type Mega would be better for this event, since the Dragon types are going to have more meta relevance overall. Keep in mind what I feel like is the most important Steel-type Pokemon in the Wild Encounter pool is going to be Beldum, and if you actually have access to Mega Rayquaza, Latios, or Latias, that is going to cover Beldum as well, in addition to all the Dragon-type Pokemon, because Beldum takes on the dual typing of Steel and Psychic. Next up, let's talk about the 4x catch experience of 4x catch Stardust, and whether or not you should actually use your Lucky Eggs and start pieces. So, most of you probably assume that you should, and you're definitely right to think that. This is one of the best times you guys can use them in-game. We only get these 4x bonuses during the Ultra Unlock events over summer. Otherwise, the highest multiplier just typically caps around 3 times during calm days. So ideally during this event, you do want to be running Lucky Eggs and start pieces during your grind sessions, but you don't have to. I actually only used 2 Lucky Eggs during the Ultra Unlock Part 1 event, and that was mainly just to combine some friendship bonuses with my grind session at the time. I just focused on Excellent Throws for the most part, and I cleared over 5 million experience. So in terms of the base, right, that you're going to be getting per catching a Pokemon, it's going to be 400 experience, 800 with the Lucky Egg, For Excellent Throws, that's going to be 4,000 experience, 8,000 with the Lucky Egg for every single Excellent Throw. It's around like 8,800, 9,000 combined together with like the other bonuses, so it's really, really good. And if you made it past rank 25 in the Go Pass for July, you're also going to be getting a 1.5 times Friendship XP multiplier, so while you're grinding out those Excellent Throws for experience, don't forget to redeem those to really maximize your Lucky Eggs. Now, of course, we also have the Catch Stardust as well, so basically you're going to get 400 Stardust base catch, you're going to get 600 with the Star Piece, and then 750 with the Star Piece plus the Weather Boost. This means for every 100 Pokemon you catch, you're going to get anywhere from 40,000 Stardust without even having a Star Piece active, and then upwards to like 75,000 with the Weather Boost plus a Star Piece. I mean, that's just insane, right? Next up, I want to talk about the best adventure effect to use during this event, and we didn't really talk about this in part 1 of my Ultra Unlock event video, but I definitely want to go over that in this video just as, I guess, some things I learned in hindsight. So first of all, Dialga Origin Form is going to have the adventure effect Roar of Time, which is going to pause the timer on your Star Pieces and your Lucky Eggs. So basically, if you have a bunch of Dialga candy, not only can you pause your incense timer, but you can also pause the Star Piece and Lucky Eggs, so if you don't really want to spend money on those specific premium items, you can just pause that. I mean, the candy is kind of hard to get, but if you guys have the rare candy, and you have the Dialga candy, then you can definitely just use one Star Piece, one Lucky Egg, run that the entire time, catch as many Pokemon as possible, and your gains are going to be incredible. But on the flip side of that, you can also use Palkia Origin Form Spatial Rend Adventure Effect for the increased spawn radius. This will get you more spawns around you, which can definitely be good, but I think it really depends on what you're going for. And then finally, you have Freeze Shock on Black Kurum, which is basically going to act as a permanent Nanite Berry. I actually had a Shundo Kurum that I was just kind of keeping on the sidelines. I was going to make it into Black Kurum eventually, but during part 1 of that Ultra Unlock event, that was the perfect time for me to finally fuse it, and when I did, I took advantage of that adventure effect so frequently. That's pretty much how I got so many Excellent Throws done. So even if you're not that good at Excellent Throws, I guarantee most of it really just comes from practicing over and over again. The repetition, the muscle memory, that is pretty much everything when it comes down to Excellent Throws. Yeah, there's definitely some skill involved, but taking away a Pokemon's ability to attack you, it just reduces so much anxiety. Let me just say that. Like, the anxiety that I just stopped getting when I was getting those Excellent Throws was amazing, and that just helped me be a lot more efficient. So anyways, I personally think if you're going to be going for experience, Black Kurum is the way to go, but if you just want to take advantage of both bonuses at once, Dialga Origin Form is going to be what you want to actually use. And then Palkia Origin Form, like, it is nice, but I guess I wouldn't really use it during an event like this. Maybe just during that Jigglypuff Spotlight Hour. I think that's like the only exception. That being said though, let me know in the comment section down below what you guys are personally going to be using. I'm very curious as well, because even though I do like Black Kurum a lot, I'm kind of open-minded here because there's just so many ways to take advantage of these bonuses. Otherwise though, that's pretty much everything I have for you guys in this video. I wish you all the best of luck out there, and if you do want to check out some more content in the meantime, I'm going to recommend these two videos right here.